Take a breath, step outside.
A very good evening to everyone. Welcome to Indigenous Ways Wisdom Circle. We'd like to start off by acknowledging our caretakers and ancestors of the lands we reside on. We are surrounded by 19 pueblos here in New Mexico in the States. We'd also like to acknowledge your ancestors and your caretakers of the land. Our Indigenous Ways Wisdom Circle is dedicated to bridging cultures globally, which makes tonight a very exceptional evening for us because we are doing that. If you take a look at the globe, you'll see where North America resides. Right up here is Santa Fe, and down here is Australia and New Zealand. So Mesepa is hailing in on Zoom outside of Sydney, Australia, in a place called Blue Mountains, and really beautiful, beautiful place that Mesepa is at. Mesepa comes from the Maori Samoans. She comes from Aotearoa, also known as the White Cloud or New Zealand. Mesepa Edwards is a very, very special artist to all of us here because her goal is to preserve Mother Earth for the future generations of our people, for our unborn generations, while acknowledging our ancestors as well. Mesepa is an artist of all kinds of genres and mediums, but most of all, Mesepa has come up with this beautiful eco-creators core where her goal is to create art utilizing recycled materials. What other people would think about as waste can actually be turned into beautiful art. You can make beautiful designs, masks, homes made out of tires, straw bales. I mean, all kinds of stuff that Mesepa has been involved with. She is always searching for innovation, inspiration, research, and ways to continue to grow and develop in this wonderful way to keep the landfills less filled, because landfills is not a good place for trash to go, for waste to go. So why not make beautiful art? So without saying too much more, I don't want to take the show. Let's give it up for Mesepa Edwards, who comes from Aotearoa, but she's in Australia right now because she's getting ready to become a grandmummy. All right.
Can you all hear me? Okay, I'll just go start.
Yep, clear as a bell.
Okay, great, awesome. Okay, before I begin my sharing, I would just first and foremost want to acknowledge the First Nations of this land here in Australia, the Aboriginal people, the Aboriginal ancestors, the people of the Gundungurra and the Darug country tribes. That's really important that I acknowledge them first. I'll now introduce myself in my language. Ko te ramaroa te maunga, ko ngā tuki matawhaurua te waka, ko hokianga te moana, ko ngā puhi te iwi, ko ngā te hau te hapu, ko te piti te marae, ko meiha te kepa papa eruera toku papa no o manaia, ko taupa u makelita fotutau sala toku mama no Hamua. Ia ma lo le soifua, maua ma le langi le mama. Ko Fiu Mesepa Edwards toku ingoa. My name is Fiu. That is my High Chief title name. Mesepa is my first name, and Edwards is my last name. I want to really thank Indigenous Ways for giving me this platform and this opportunity to share with you all, wherever you might be coming in from, about the theme and the topic of rise and resilience. When the invitation was extended out and I received it, I really had to think deeply about what that truly means. And, you know, I was just thinking, gosh, I could do this and I could talk about that. And all these ideas were just flooding in about what it is that I could really be sharing at this particular time. And at the end of the day, what really has come is to just really speak from my heart, to share from my experiences, to pull out from what the word rise and what the word resilience means. And it's interesting, before I even share that, it's just like, what is the definition of rise? What does resilience really mean? And in my own words, rise, to sit up, to be elevated up, to move up high, to stand up, to get up. And the word resilience, in my own words, is to come through some kind of adversity, to pull through, to make it transition through some form of trauma, stress, something that I was able to make it through. Then I had to think again. It's easy to speak always about what it is when you're at the top. The saying goes, you know, what goes up eventually must come down. And in order to understand what it is to rise, you must actually be below that. So I want to address a number of things. The saying of, we are spirits, we are spirit beings having a human experience. That phrase in itself is spoken all the time. You hear it constantly. But what does it mean when we are caught in our human experience? If it is that we are spirit first, our highest conscious self, if we are that first, then what happens in our human, tangible, this fleshy part? It's easy for us to be caught in the lower part, the lower rung. Spirit is high, human is down this part. We are experiencing things that often we tend to forget to connect into our spirit for those solutions, to our higher conscious self. It's only really through the adversity or through our darkness that we will really understand the full potential of the intensity of our light. So I'm going to share with you some of my own experiences of what those adversities have happened in my life, and actually not only just some of those struggles and stresses, but also just how at the time when I was going through these experiences, how easy it is to be caught up and to be stuck in that realm, in that space. Globally, around the world, if you encounter grief, there is no comparison. Everybody around the world understands what grief is. Also around the world, if you experience fear, there is no Richter scale to compare your fear to mine. Everybody around the world understands what fear is. If you've experienced addictions, whatever that addiction might be, it could be food, it could be drugs, it could be alcohol, it could be a number, it could be sugar, it could be a number of different things that we could be all addicted to. It is no different to me being on this side of the world, to wherever it is that you're coming in from, wherever you are. When I have truly lost sight of my own self-worth and my own self-love, then I become the reflection of where I'm at currently. So through my life, through my experiences, I'm one of 6 siblings. My father is Maori. My mother is Samoan. She comes from a chiefly family. I was raised and brought up in Aotearoa, New Zealand. And at the time, you know, in the 60s and the 70s, it was a huge thing to be of a mixed race, to have 2, Maori and Samoan. Not only that was it difficult to come of 2 very strong cultural heritage, but it was also very difficult and challenging to now be brought up in a white colonized framework or society or community. Going to school was very, very challenging. It was confusing. And then on top of that, I have a name that doesn't sound European. It doesn't sound white. It's an Indigenous name. And I remember very, very strongly as going to school, my very first day, teachers couldn't pronounce my name. They said, let's just call you Maria. It was much easier. And then I just remember going home and I remember saying to my mum how much I hated my name. I didn't fit in. You know, I wanted to be just called Maria. The teacher was going to call me Maria. So, you know, let's just keep that name. And my mother just said to me very, very, very gently, she just said, Mesepa, one day when you are old enough, you will realize just how powerful your name is. And at the time, as a little girl, 5 years old, I didn't really care too much about the future ahead of me or what that really meant. All I was worried about was my current situation, my day-to-day encounter, having to go back to school, and how traumatic that was. So that stuck to me. I remembered that so well. And as a child, when you're being teased, bullied, and so on, those things don't go away in a hurry because you are still young, there's an immaturity, you are still yet to grow. Little did I know that those encounters would actually eventually, over time, would actually build the character and reflect the very deep meaning of my name, which means to make peace. Mesepa in the Samoan language means peace between you and me. It also means the bearer of light, the torch bearer. It also means, in the old traditional Samoan language, Mesepa also means the woman of many spirits. So only having understood that now as a much more older, mature woman, my younger self didn't really appreciate that, didn't really appreciate the journey of what I was about to face ahead of me. So it came through a number of encountering and witnessing violence, physical abuse, sexual abuse. It came in the form of rejections, abandonment, wanting to fit in and not fit in, having to mold and shift and become something that is completely not me at all. And I know that in your own life and in your own journeys, you would all have your own experience of what that was for you. But for me at that time, those struggles were actually part and parcel of defining who I am today. So one major encounter of my life experience was having to go through a time and period of my life of losing life, losing children, giving birth, losing that child. I had 7 miscarriages. I gave birth to 5 children. Most of them, actually all of them, passed away except for my beautiful blessing, who is here about to give life to my very first mokopuna, my very first grandchild. That time in my life was the most darkest time of my life. And in it, when I was going through it, nothing else existed except the bottom of the pit, the bottom of the cliff. There was no way, it just felt so impossible to be able to get out of the cliff with no rope, no ladder, and look up and just see it was just way too far, too high to rise up and get to the top. That's how it felt. And this is only one of many experiences over my lifetime where I had multiple times been at the bottom of this cliff. In order to understand what rise is, I needed to fully embrace what it meant to be at the bottom of the valley. And being at the bottom of the valley meant that my perspective, my eyes, my seeing physical eyes could only see what was in my perimeter, in my surroundings. I could not see anything else other than that. It was impossible. There was no way. I want out. All of these kinds of things. And yet somehow, something, some way, not remembering that I am a spirit first and a human being, having a human experience, I was detached. I had come away from my spirit being first. I was caught up in the current present moment of my human experience. It was only when I started to realize that the fight in my mind around what felt impossible, that there was no ladder. I thought there was no tools around me to be able to pull myself up, or I was waiting and expecting something to fall out of the sky and pull me out. It was only until I was able to break the chain of thought in my mind and stop resisting, stop the internal fight. Once I relaxed and I was able to surrender, did I then see the opportunity and the way out. When I became vulnerable to releasing everything and realizing, let go, let go, let go, it was only in that moment that I realized that the solution was there all along. And then the reconnecting to my higher spiritual self was then fully, totally present. That's when I understood the power of, I am a spirit first. I am in this human physical body as well. It was then that I realized, well, okay, this is how it happens. When I am stuck in the flesh and caught up in my mind trying to control the situation, it's very challenging to see how I can rise up. The moment I can stop fighting my flesh and fighting my mind and let go was the opportunity to get up, stand tall, look up. There is a painting that I actually did that year when I was struggling through that dark tunnel, that dark period of time when I had, I was going through the loss of my child, my daughter who is about to expect her very first child. She is a twin, and her twin, Moana, passed away 3 days after birth. When I was going through this period of time, there's no time, especially when you have twins, there was no time to grieve the loss of the other because one is present and alive. And without trying to ignore the grief, it was a very challenging time to balance that out. But I did a painting. I did a painting because it was the only way that I could express what was really, truly going on. In that painting was imagery of the clouds. It was sunrise. It was in the sunrise. So the reflection of the sun rising depicted these beautiful rays of oranges, yellows, reds, blending into the sky. And right at the bottom of the canvas was the ocean, and the ocean was coming in on the sand, and it was very, very calm. But in the clouds was a kuia, the image of this kuia, which means wise old woman. This kuia started to appear in the form of, her face started to come through in the form of these clouds. And she had a mokopuna. This is what a mokopuna is. And she had her headscarf, and she was just in through the clouds. When I acknowledged this kuia, this old woman who was revealing herself to me, this is what she said. When you are at your most lowest point in life, lift your head, stand tall, and look to the sky. For all the answers that you seek is there displayed before you. Who you are is as infinite as the universe and the sky displayed before you. And I never forgot that. Just that simple thing. When I was at my lowest, when I have my head down, it's weighed heavy. When I'm down, when I lift my head up to rise up and look to the sky, all my answers through my ancestors, through my prayers, through God, the solutions, through my connection of my spirit, all the solutions to what I need in that time of adversity, of struggle, was displayed before me right there. But in order to see, I needed to lift my head up, not hold it down. If I've got it down, I can't see the solution. When I keep my head up and rise, then the solution comes. Connecting to the spirit first is the core center to a lot of this, and has the solutions to a lot of what we encounter as our struggles and difficulties. And it is a process. It's one that you actually really have to choose. If you are struggling, and like me at that time, it was a mental battle. It was a mental struggle to have multiple conversations around how to elevate myself out, especially when at the time I had no family around me. I couldn't connect to my land. I was actually living here in Australia at the time. I couldn't connect to what was familiar. I couldn't connect to my mountain. I was on someone else's mountain. I couldn't connect to my ocean. I was around a lake and a waterhole. I couldn't connect to my meeting house. I couldn't connect to my canoe. All those things that actually reminded me of who I truly was. But in doing that, while I was living on another land, I needed to always ask permission. I felt like I needed to always ask permission. I needed to speak to the ancestors, the Aboriginal ancestors of this land, and always pay respect and acknowledge and say, I am not on my land, I am on your land. And it's important that I pray for your protection, for the protection, my protection being on their land, and asking permission, their permission, that it's okay that I be here. And that while I'm going through this transitional period, I know that through the protection of the ancestors of this land, that I will be taken care of. So rise. I was able to stand up and pull through that time which was the most darkest for me. Loss of my children and then separation from my child. Often in those periods of time, when I was separated from my daughter, her father and I also separated. Again, another string of events that often play on the mind around how strong are you internally? How resilient are you when life throws a ball at you and then it throws you another one and another one and another one? And it just felt like everything was coming at me from the north, from the south, from the west, from the east, all at one time. So easy to give up. The most easiest thing to give up. Yet my spirit, my higher self, God, my protector, my ancestors, when you are called to do something of great significance for Mother Earth, Papa Tuanuku, when your purpose is to actually contribute something as an Indigenous woman, something much higher than me, than my physical human body, always takes over. It always intervened at the time when I most wanted to give up. Just not do this anymore. It is too difficult. At that time, I knew that that's when they would pull me up. It's like, all right, you've done well. We will lift you up so that you can breathe a little bit, so that you can rest. Enough for you to really feel and understand what it is that we want you to learn, what it is that we want you to see. And so resilience for me was now about, okay, this life journey that I'm going through and the reflection of what is happening globally, that I wasn't just the only one. It's actually all for a very specific reason and for a specific time, such as today. We are facing a mass global crisis, and it's not just one that is physical. It's also one that is spiritual. And the one gripping thing, if you've not understood, or if you have understood, coming through some of the most difficult times in your life, if you understand what has gripped you and what has locked you down in fear and trauma, if you understand that, then how could you possibly understand, well, how can anybody actually, if we are so caught up down here, locked in with our heads down, engulfed in our moment, how then can we be contributing to the mass healing of what has been called for each and every one of us to contribute to the healing of our planet, our one and only planet that we have? When we are all down like this, if all of us were doing this, then we are feeding, we are actually contributing and feeding to the frequency and the vibration of fear. We are feeding that. And we are feeding that moment to not rise. When we can have courage to go in, lift our heads, look up to the sky, be still, and seek the answers that we know that you have the ability to do, then we ripple it out. The light gets bigger, the ripple gets stronger, the vibration gets stronger, and on a mass scale, globally around the world, especially for Mother Earth, we can heal. and come through anything. Everything that's going on, I really truly believe that everything that is going on, that is escalating, is only because there are other forces outside of us, beyond our seeing eyes, that are threatened. There are governments, there are organizations, there are groups, and we can put names, specific names to these entities. They are starting to become afraid because people are waking up. They are actually rising. They are actually moving and shaking, and they are now seeing what it is that they've been prepared for. Through their lifetime, through what it is that they've come through, they are now waking up and opening their eyes. And resilience can only come if we've got the courage to pull through the most difficult, adverse times of our life. If you are a soul that has got the courage to do that, then we have enormous hope for our planet, for Papa Tuanuku. And Papa Tuanuku is only reflecting back to us. She is only showing us what it is that we've been doing for way too long. And that is keeping our heads down, choosing to stay stuck in our human situation of trauma, of stress, of whatever it is that we're struggling through. She's just mirroring back to us what it is that we're pushing down. We're shoving shit all the time. We're throwing, we're dumping. If we are externally contributing to throwing our crap, our waste, and waste isn't just in a physical, I'm going to chuck this out. Waste can also come through your attitude. Waste can also be the toxic words that you speak out. Words can either lift you, elevate you, encourage you, make you feel life is worth living for, or words can slice you. They can sever you. They can disconnect you. They can humiliate you and keep you down there. So to remember when a baby is born and I'm about to karanga, I'm about to call in my very first grandchild. When this mokopuna arrives, this mokopuna will come, this grandchild will arrive so pure, 100% pure. Every cell of this baby will be 100% accurate, clean, whole. I want to challenge you, and I want you to remember, do you remember that that's how you arrived? You arrived the same way. You arrived whole, pure, perfect, and so full of love. That's how you arrived. That's how I arrived. And so we need to go back and remember the core truth, the true essence of who we are, that pure, pure self. How do you do that when you are stuck in what feels like an impossible task to get through? If you're surrounded by fires, if you're surrounded by drought, if you are caught in a flood, the external reflections of wherever it is that we are at this time, at this particular time on this planet, whatever is reflective around us, how strong are you? How strong am I in this physical form? How connected am I to my wairua, to my spirit, to say, How long must I endure? How much more do I have to go before I pull through this? And it will be told, we are still here. You are still here because there is still much to do. So the inner spirit, it is an inside-outside job, not an outside search out there. Go look over there. Find me over there. Climb the hilltop and, oh, there I am at the top of the tree. Those encounters is only an external bonus to what it is that we've already connected to once we come inside. Then when you go climb the mountain, it's a match, it's a balance. When we climb to the mountain and then we go, oh my gosh, how much more do I have to do? And we complain, we're not present. You're not present. Not present to that beautiful moment. The highest mountain you can climb, and I challenge you to this, and I encourage you, the greatest canyons that you can have overcome your fear is the canyon deep within. Traverse the internal mountain. What it is that you will find when you get there. My gosh, how amazing would that be when you rise internally of self and discover an array of incredibleness, of majesticness, of wonderfulness, amazingness that is already right in there waiting for you to discover and explore. And you can do that and then bring that and then reflect that in your everyday living life, then everything that surrounds us seems like it is there, but it is not there. So really, really, really rise in resilience to appreciate the true value of what it is once we've come to the physical mountain and the internal mountain. When that matches, when that marries together, I don't need to tell you what the answer or what the experience or what you will be feeling. It will be your feeling. It will be what it is that was meant to be given to you in that moment. And it is a choice. You can choose to wake up and understand that that's the exciting part. I was actually sharing with my daughter the other day. How amazing would it be if whenever we came to a point of what felt like failure, that we actually got more excited at embracing that encounter of failure, that instead of going internally and getting depressed or feeling anxious, getting anxiety, popping a pill, lying down, ignoring it, denying it, avoiding it, walking away from it. Instead of doing that, what would happen if we ran to failure? We jumped for joy. We put on our favorite music and we danced to celebrate. My gosh, we're at this point. We're at that point where it could either completely collapse because it's a signpost. It's a signpost to say, you now have a wonderful opportunity to transition. You have this amazing opportunity now to actually dance for joy that failure has come to you in this gift, in this way to say, you are ready, you are ready. And it's purely our choice in that moment to decide which way we want to go. Celebrate, rise to the occasion and embrace this encounter with failure and look at displaying it in front of us and saying, what is it? Okay, what is the solution to this? How can we deal with this situation? What can I do instead of being engulfed by it, instead of feeling heavy by it, instead of locking down, not communicating, not connecting, cutting off from spirit, cutting off from family, shutting off from friends, shutting the curtains. These are all symbols of us. When we do that, it is a sign that we are not connected to the true essence of who we are, which is love. Love does not judge. It has no capacity to understand what failure is. Love doesn't even have a concept of what it is to criticize, to be addicted, to complain, to moan. It doesn't understand any of that. Love in its purest form only knows how to love. It only knows how to give love. And that's what unconditional means. It's so pure, like this grandchild I'm about to welcome. It is so pure. It won't judge when I am a place of doubt, when I am feeding my fear, when I am falling into the mass conscious wave of toxic words, media, social media, all of this, when I am caught up in allowing my eyes to see that and take it in, breathe that in, then I am not in the place of love. If I was to ask at that time in my younger self, when I was going through my darkness, through my dark night of the soul, through my dark tunnel, if I was to ask, if my higher self was to ask, or even if I was awake, if I was awake at that time and asked my higher self, what would love tell me at this time to do? If I was awake to that, it would be a very different scenario. It wasn't meant to be that way. It was meant for me to go through understanding completely, wholly, fully, what that was to the opposite of life, fullness of life, to understand the two. When there is death, I'm getting the wave of, it's coming up to my summing up. So here we are. I just mentioned the word death. Can be a very beautiful thing, very powerful thing. Very sad, very grieving thing, because it's a time of detachment, but it is also the time of beginning, the end of, the start of. So I want to sum up with the whole theme of rise and resilience. Yes, we are in a mass global pandemic on so many levels. We can all write a whole book about all the things that we are facing. And again, at the end of the day, we can, as we look through these lists, it can be overwhelming. But I want to encourage you with love. I want to encourage you all. Stop the chatter. Stop the overwhelmingness to what it is that we're getting caught up outside. Come in, have the courage to come in. The solution to the healing of what we feel overwhelmed actually is coming inside. Self-love. Love you. Self-love first. When that comes, when you are at home in the center place, when you come there, and it's a discipline. When we can discipline ourselves to come in and embrace the love of who we are, then the answers to how we cope with what we see outside of us will come. The answers to what we're dealing with, especially for the healing of our planet and our human race, it will come. And each of us need to rise. We all need to rise to the occasion. Our time of holding on to what we've been attached to and we've been comfortable with our habits, our patterns of life, that too must come to an end in order for us to fulfill together how we can bring a healing, a global healing of love for our planet and for each other. There is no separation from me to you. We are all connected, but it is a choice. So with love to you all, I would like to just close off with a little song of thanks. It's a Samoan song. It's only got a few words to it, but it talks about the gratitude. It's gratitude. A small song of gratitude for being alive, for what we have, and for the people that mean the most to you. And the song goes like this. Wafa'afetai, wafa'afetai, wamalie mata eva ai. Watasilava oi, watasilava oi, ilo une fa'amoe moe. Wafa'afetai, wafa'afetai, wamalie mata eva ai. Watasilava oi, watasilava oi, ilo une fa'amoe moe.
From our side here in the Northern Hemisphere, we say from the Navajo Nation, Ahehe, Nijoniye. Thank you. You're so beautiful. And we love you. We love your heart. We love your wisdom. We love your collective thought of not just thinking for yourself, but thinking for all your others as a collective, thinking about the winged ones and the animals in the waters, the trees, Mother Earth, the living being. Our Mother Earth is our home. All of us, we share this. So, Mesepa, you are such a beautiful soul, and we are so healed from your words tonight because, yes, we are hurting. We are scared. There's a virus out there that's cleaning house for Mother Earth, but it's devastating our families. Our people are getting sick. So I'm going to do a quick commercial break, and then we're going to open it up for just a few minutes for people to come in. I'd like to just talk about our event next week. We have for our Wisdom Circle, Rogelio Fernandez. He is a beautiful man that lives in Austin, Texas, with his beautiful wife, Carla. They're both educators, and he identifies as Latinx. That means Hispanic of sorts for you in the Southern Hemisphere. So we're really excited. He's also deaf, profoundly deaf, and he's done so much for deaf culture to connect and do that global bridging. He's all about that, hence the reason we're bringing him in next week to talk about all of that. So please join us next week. And then we have our concert series back once a month. We decided to go for Saturday afternoon, 3 o'clock, Mountain Daylight Time. We are going to have Velma Satani. I'll spell that for you. S for Sam, I, T for Tom, E, I, N for Nancy, E. So Satani. She is a Samoan goddess of wordsmith, music, vocals, songs, harmonies. This woman convenes with the fish in the waters. She can sing about it. She sings about heart stuff. I actually took her to Winslow, Arizona to sing to my grandmother, Margaret, in the nursing facility, and all the elders loved Velma. She sang Samoan songs and she sang Maori songs. So please join us And we also have all of our events interpreted, ASL interpreters. They're all beautiful. And check out our IndigenousWays.org website to check out our archived artists. We've had over 50 so far. There's also a list of artists coming for the month of October. We have some heavy hitters coming, everybody. We're so excited. We'd love for you also to share this recorded video with anyone. Those of you that are educators, you're welcome to use our archive videos to talk about different parts of the earth, the people, the tribes, the cultures. Just be respectful of how you share these people's stories, including our sister Mesepa. We will post all of this show tonight in the next 48 hours, and we'll be sending out a newsletter tomorrow morning. Again, please join our newsletter. Go to our website and just subscribe to our newsletter. And right above my head, you see this thing that says IndigenousWays.org. Just go into that. It's very user friendly. Down below, we have all kinds of social media sites, i.e. YouTube, Instagram, Facebook, etc., etc. We are so grateful to our sponsors. We're so grateful to our ASL interpreters who make access available for our deaf and hard of hearing audience members. Our sponsors are National Endowment of the Arts, Westaff Cares, New Mexico Arts, New Mexico Humanities Council, and National Endowment of Humanities, and hopefully more as we go down the road. As always, we're very grateful to our Indigenous Ways board members who are phenomenal beings that make a lot of this happen. They do a lot of work in the back end, and thank you all. We love you. Please subscribe again to our weekly newsletter. It's IndigenousWays.org. We are going to be getting back onto our Navajo Nation Relief Run number 4. It's going to Black Mountain, and we have... I'm sorry, that was incorrect. Our relief run number 5. We've done 4. We're going up for our 5th run. And there's a whole list of items needed for the end of October. You can look at it. We need everything from gloves to Vicks to Bengay, beanies, scarves. Those of you on Black Mountain, we're going to come see you soon. So thank you all for just being the amazing people on the mountain that we just love so much. And as always, you can donate to our relief run or our virtual wisdom circle and concert series. And also this funding pays for our presenters and our ASL interpreters. And of course, there's 2 different, you can either donate to the virtual events, or you can donate to the Black Mesa Relief Run. So thank you very much for those of you that have done that. I'd like to go ahead and take this moment to invite those of you who would like to come in to turn your camera to on. And let's say hi to Mesepa and those of you in social media, Facebook, Instagram, Twitch, YouTube, Twitter. You can go ahead and type in your hellos in honoring of Mesepa tonight. You can write your questions and comments. We will see them on this end and read them to Mesepa. She can go ahead and respond to that. And let's go ahead and get started. Who would like to speak first? Stina, would you like to share?
Hi, yes, I just really wanted to say thank you for your beautiful, beautiful message. And that's really helped me to know that I am not alone, and that I also am struggling to try my best with everything that life has given me. And really, I'm so thankful for all of your beautiful soul, and that has really helped me. And I really think that I needed to hear that. And I just wanted to say thank you so much for your sharing and about your life experiences, and for helping us to guide us, really. And also, I just wanted to say really great thank you to the interpreters, and Tosh, of course. Awesome interpreters.
Well, thank you very much. This is Tasha's voice. Thank you very much. And TV, I know you were speaking. If you would go ahead and repeat yourself, TV. It was Christina's turn. So TV, can you say that again, please?
Yes, yes. You want me to say that again? Okay, so let me back up. Sorry about my dog. Let me back up a little bit. Yeah, sure. Go ahead. Other interpreter.
Switch interpreter so the dog noises go away. Okay.
TV, go ahead. It's like TV.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, okay, the dog, that's fine. So I just was so impressed with that concept of experiencing those negative trying times and that struggle, you know, and realizing that, you know, my mother, she influenced me in a very negative way, and kind of taking on that negativity and becoming more myself later on, experiencing those awful times growing up, and realizing later that I didn't want that in my life. That was myself, my inner self. And realizing that as I'm going on my journey and as I'm moving far away from here, because I grew up in North Dakota. Oh, and you yourself living far away from New Zealand and having that experience, I feel like we're in the same boat. And having the ability to let go, wow.
Yes.
It just impressed me. Your wisdom, your concept of the heart and soul, that just, it left a mark. So thank you so much.
Oh, beautiful. 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 Thank you.
Okay, this is Tosh again. And Mesepa, we have a Susie Sattel on Facebook that says, resilience is an inside job to deal with outside events. Thank you. Beautiful messages. I could listen to you, Mesepa, for hours. Love always. Thank you, Susie. We love you for being with us tonight. And I'd like to just offer Amber some words. Amber, would you like to say anything tonight?
Yes, thank you so much. And especially for reminding us and me to come back into myself and to be in myself in the moment, because I can't do anything if I'm not here. And, and yes, these are intense times, very intense times for so many of us. And it's life. We're alive. We're participating. And we can participate best, as you said so beautifully, if we are present within ourselves, if we are loving the fact that we get to be here, you know? And having respect for ourselves and one another. It is so beautiful to hear you, and thank you. May you be well. May all of your loved ones be well, and many blessings on this new person that's on the way soon.
Thank you, Amber. Bless you.
Thank you, Amber. And Christine and Hilda, would you like to share tonight? I can't hear you.
Yeah, I just,
Do you want to say something? Oh, I can say something.
Okay, I unmuted. Can you hear me now?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay. Okay, I really appreciated you talking about some of the deep depths of, particularly of losing a child. When I was very young, I chose to give up my parenting rights to my son. So, you know, he never left my heart. I always thought of him and remembered him. And we have now reunited, which is truly wonderful. And it was one of my hardest lessons, and I feel so much stronger for having gone down to those depths and had good people help me look up. So thank you.
Yes. Yes. Thank you. Thank you for sharing that. Thank you so much.
Yeah.
This is Tosh.
I see you. Yeah.
Thank you so much, Christine. Good to see you, Hilda. We love your commitment to our beautiful wisdom circle. Thank you. Richard, would you like to say something before we close out?
Well, as many people are in this as many stories there are. And we all come from different places, from different cultures, different languages. But the one thing, if we're worth anything, is that we find our humanity in all that.
Yes.
You certainly have found your humanity. You're not a Homo sapien because Homo sapiens kill the other. So I like to say, if when I meet somebody, if I have a human being in front of me, I stay. If it's a Homo sapien, I leave. And so I've stayed. Nobody's chased me off. And I love your words. And gee, I think we could all say stuff, but I'm going to cut it short. I'm just glad I've met you. Maybe someday we'll see each other in the flesh. And I want to say to the Maoris.
Beautiful.
A very beautiful native woman who owned gathering tribes up here went to New Zealand, and she came back, and I had been sick. So she put this on me. I've never taken it off except for a shower because I don't want to ruin the cord. But other than that, this thing stays on. And so thank you for what you said.
Thank you, Richard.
Awesome. Thank you, Richard. Okay, I'm just going to read a couple of posts from the Facebook. Janie Immerman. Hello, Jamie. Thank you for being with us tonight. I believe you're in New York City. How powerful your words are. I needed to hear this. Thank you. This is from Janie in New York City. And another sister, Donna Goodman, Adassa. She is in Ohio. She says, beautiful message. Thank you. So you got people from all over the states tonight, Mesepa. And I just want to thank all of you for taking time out of your life to take this one sacred hour to join our sister from the Southern Hemisphere to merge all of our cultures through the Zoom platform. And thank you very much. And we would not be as awesome as we are without our beautiful interpreters. So I want to thank Zoel and Tristan for doing an amazing job. Yay, everybody. Thank you, interpreters. And thank you. Let's give it up for Mesepa, everybody. We're going to go ahead and call it a night now. We look forward to seeing you back here next Wednesday. For Rogelio Fernandez, Mesepa, take care. Keep us posted on your grandchild. We want to know all the details. And everybody, one more time, let's give it up for Mesepa, ASL style. Woo!
Touch the earth, touch the earth, touch the earth.